The sound reached us before the space did. It was not screaming or crying or anything so dramatic, but the low, indistinct noise of many people existing too close together for too long, a sound that carried no single voice clearly enough to identify, and therefore no one clearly enough to ignore. We slowed again, though none of us needed the signal this time. The tunnel widened gradually, its ceiling lifting just enough to change the way sound settled, and as it did, the smell grew stronger, not merely the scent of bodies, but of routine, of people being kept rather than passed through, of time accumulating instead of moving on. Light appeared ahead, not bright, not welcoming, but functional, thrown unevenly by lanterns hung where they were needed, and nowhere else. This was not a place designed to be seen. It was a place designed to work. The first holding area lay beyond a bend in the passage, and we did not step into it so much as arrive at the edge of it, stopping where shadow still offered the courtesy of concealment. From there, the space unfolded in pieces rather than all at once, allowing understanding to arrive slowly. Iron bars set into stone divided the chamber into sections of uneven size. Chains hung from rings in the walls, some slack, some not. The floor bore the marks of constant use, worn smooth in places where people had been made to stand, sit, or lie in the same positions for too long. People occupied the space, but they did not fill it. They were arranged. Some sat against the walls, heads lowered, conserving what little energy they had left. Others lay on the floor, motionless enough that I counted breaths before deciding they still lived. A few stood when they heard movement, though their eyes did not lift with expectation so much as habit. No one spoke. That was the part that stayed with me. Silence here was not enforced through fear or threat. It was maintained through exhaustion, through the simple understanding that speaking changed nothing and cost something you might not be able to replace. I watched the guards then, though guards felt like too formal a word for what they were. They moved with the ease of people performing tasks they no longer questioned, checking chains, adjusting restraints, counting bodies without counting faces. Their weapons remained sheathed, not because they were unnecessary, but because they were rarely needed. Routine does more work than cruelty ever could. The fighter's breath grew heavier beside me, though he kept it controlled, and I could feel the tension in him not as anger, but as restraint, the kind that holds something back until holding becomes harder than acting. The cleric's hand was still at his symbol, though now it rested there without movement, as if whatever comfort it offered had already been taken and spent. The mage watched everything, eyes moving constantly, not in calculation but in recognition, mapping the space, noting exits, patterns, numbers, because understanding was the only way he knew how to respond. The ranger watched the guards, measuring distance, timing, habit. I watched the people. One woman sat nearest the bars, her hands resting loosely in her lap, as if she had forgotten what they were for. A man nearby stared at the floor with such focus that I wondered what memory he was using to keep himself somewhere else. A child slept against a wall, small enough that the chain at his ankle looked absurd rather than cruel, which somehow made it worse. This was not chaos. This was inventory. That realization settled over me slowly, not as shock but as clarity, and with it came the understanding that nothing we were seeing here had happened by accident. Every choice that had brought these people here had been reasonable to someone, at some point, in isolation from its consequences. A city needed order, merchants needed goods, caravans needed labor, and beneath all of it, someone always needed to look away. A guard laughed softly at something said by another, a sound so casual it barely registered as sound at all, and the prisoners did not react because they had learned not to. That, more than the chains or the bars, told me how long this place had existed. We did not stay long. We could not. Observation has limits, and once reached, it begins to feel like complicity. I drew back slowly, signaling the others to do the same, and as we retreated into shadow, the sounds of the chamber softened again, blending back into the general hum of the tunnels, as if the space itself were accustomed to swallowing what happened within it. As we moved away, I felt something settle into place inside me, a shift from analysis to intention, from watching to choosing. Whatever else lay ahead, insect warrens, slavers, tunnels still unseen, none of it mattered as much as this. This place could not be left intact. Not because we were heroes, or because the Lords expected results, but because once you see a system clearly enough to understand how it functions, you are no longer permitted the comfort of pretending you did not. We continued deeper into the dark, carrying with us the quiet weight of what we had found, and I understood then that this was no longer simply a job we had accepted. It was something we had entered, and like all systems worth fearing, it would not let us leave without taking something from us in return.